Welcome in. Brett Dickinson here with Dallas Cowboys Courage Award recipient Travis Frederick. Travis, thank you for joining us today and appreciate taking a little time out.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, and so Travis, we can first start just talking about the Black Courage Award. It's hanging up right there, right over your
Yeah.
shoulder, looking beautiful and shiny, as we like to see all the recipients have it on display. But talk about looking back on that moment a couple years ago when you were selected by your teammates for the award, and what that kind of meant for you, knowing that these are the guys in the locker room choosing me for this.
Yeah, I was really fortunate to be in a situation where I've received a few different awards and had a decent career along the way. And I can't tell you how much more this award means than any other award. You know, the fact that it was voted on by my teammates, it's about resilience, it's about overcoming adversity. Those are things that I value in my life and are sort of pillars of my character. And to be recognized for that was a really special moment. And it really means a lot when it comes from your teammates. You know, they see all the work that you put in that sometimes the outside world doesn't see. And so they know what's real and what's not. And it means a lot.
Yeah, and talking about your story is obviously one of the more unique ones in the NFL. And pardon me if I butcher it, but Guillain-Barré syndrome is something that not a lot of people know about, and
Yeah.
the struggles that you had to go through to kind of overcome that, just to get back on the field and kind of try to battle through it for one more year. Can you kind of explain what happened to you there and some of the things that you had to go through that may not be usual to the average NFL player?
Yeah. So Guillain-Barré is an autoimmune disease that essentially your immune system starts to eat away the insulation on your nerves. And once that happens, just like any other electrical wires, once it starts touching anything else, they start to short out. And so essentially you lose the ability to control your body along the way. And so for me, it showed a lot of numbness, tingling. I didn't have a lot of pain associated with it. I know that a lot of people do, and I was fortunate not to have that. But really, my key thing was numbness and weakness. And so I was likely one of the stronger people in the NFL at the top of my game. And weeks after finding out that I had Guillain-Barré, I was having a hard time. There were days where I chose not to eat lunch because the lunchroom was 100 yards down and it was too hard to walk down there. And it's really interesting when you can feel the 1% grade when you're walking up a slight hill rather than a flat. Those are things that you take for granted when it's easy. So walking became difficult. Daily tasks, I couldn't open water bottles or things at lunch. I couldn't cut a steak or any of the things that you normally do. And not even considering the weight room or football. And so, once we figured it out and got the treatment, luckily I had the acute version of this, which is it comes on fast and strong, but it goes away after it's been treated. And so they essentially push the reset button on your immune system so it stops doing what it's doing, which worked. But then your body has to build back that insulation over, however long it takes. And I was really, really fortunate along that way to get to work with Mike Wysick, who was our strength coach at the time. And Coach Wysick had been through this before. He helped Teddy Bruschi through his recovery after a stroke.
Oh, yeah.
And so he knew exactly how to handle a situation where, I was in the same spot where bench pressing a broomstick is where you start. Like, you just have to get those movements back. And doing squats with assistance and being able to take advantage of some of the machines that we were fortunate enough to have to be able to assist. And when you couldn't do a body weight squat and you need to have somebody help you. So there just was a lot of time spent holding on. Our goal was hold on, tap on the ceiling, and never try and punch through. And then as that ceiling continues to grow, you just continue to take a little bit more and a little bit more. And eventually it would come back, and that's what happened.
And you want to talk something about, just you giving back to the community, as this is a staple of winning the Black Courage Award, and kind of not just about injuries, but what you are doing in the community. You starting the Blocking Hunger Foundation. Tell us why that was so important to you, and what it means to kind of have this thing still going 5 years later.
Yeah, the Blocking Hunger Foundation is near and dear to my heart, obviously. I started it several years ago. When I first came into the league, I knew that I wanted to take advantage of my platform to do good in the community, but I didn't know exactly what it was I wanted to do. And I started volunteering in different places and going to the galas and providing my support in other ways. And it was one time when I was volunteering in downtown Dallas when I saw some kids coming through a line that I was handing out food in, and I was just taken aback by the smile on their face when they were receiving that food, and just thinking that this was the first time that they had gotten to eat in some period of time, and that's just really unfair. And it's unfair for everybody, but it's really unfair for kids, as they're trying to go to school and learn and become productive adults. And so I knew I needed to do something about that. And so we started the Blocking Hunger Foundation, and our goal was to become a conduit for the incredible generosity in the city of Dallas in the Metroplex to some of that need, because I'd been to so many places where there were so many people that wanted to give and wanted to help and didn't have a direct place to do that. And so we wanted to do that. And one of the important things that we set forth when we were setting up the foundation was saying, we want to make sure we're getting food into the hands of kids that aren't receiving it in other ways. We didn't want to just slap a sponsorship on a current food bank that's operating. We want to go find pockets that are being underserved, and so we've done that. And so we have a couple of different programs that we operate with. One is we provide backpacks and boxes of food during the time when the kids aren't at school. The USDA provides free and reduced lunch and breakfast for many kids, and it's a very, very impactful program. But that program stops generally during spring break, summer break, winter break, and fall break, and kids lose access to food for that period of time. And it's really hard on the kids because they're struggling to find food, but it's also hard on the families during that time because they're used to having some respite. And so it really is throws a wrench in things. And so what we do is we provide meals during those times to kids throughout the Metroplex that aren't currently receiving it. And then we also have four pantries that we've put into schools during the school year. Kids can take food home. Families can come in and take food on Fridays to help them get through the weekend. And what we found with that is, one, the kids are way more productive on Monday when they come back because they actually have energy to be learning. They don't have to spend a day trying to catch up on that. But the other thing that we found is it can help reduce the financial strain over the weekend on the families. And sometimes kids can get extra meals during the week at home because of it. If they're only ever eating breakfast and lunch, sometimes now they can get dinner a couple of times a week because it's easier on the family over the weekends. And so we found that to be really impactful.
It's an amazing cause, and obviously serving underprivileged youth is something very important to us as well. And you did have the privilege of getting to meet some special kids down in Dallas when it comes to North Central Texas Academy, Happy Hill Farm. One of
Yeah.
the greatest relationships I've seen when it comes to Courage House and team, and the connection that the Cowboys have with their Courage House. Can you talk about getting to meet those kids as well as that luncheon that the Cowboys put on, and how
Yeah.
spectacular it is and how much of an impact it makes?
The Happy Hills Farm partnership with the Cowboys is it's really special. I'm not sure that happens other places. I only played for the Cowboys, so I don't know if it does. But I have a hard time believing that it happens at a level that it does in Dallas. There's just such a close partnership between the community arm of the Cowboys and the Happy Hills Farm, and I really appreciate that because they're doing amazing work out there, helping those underprivileged youth and helping them become successful adults. And so there's this giant luncheon that happens for people who don't know, but there's this giant luncheon that happens before the beginning of every year, and it's the kickoff. It's the official kickoff to the season, and there are all sorts of sponsors and donors that come in, and we do it in the stadium, and they put together. I mean, there's got to be 100 tables or more, all down on the field, and they put the whole team up front. They introduce the team. They get everybody hyped up for the coming season. You do some awards potentially from the previous season as well. And more importantly, the Happy Hills Farm kids are there, and they perform the national anthem to get it started, and they get to mingle with the guests. And it's just really awesome to see a three-way connection there that really helps drive support for such a great organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously, all our Courage houses are our favorites, but it's one of our favorites. One of the original Courage houses, established in 1991, and to see where they started as a one-room kind of foster school up until where they are now with the accredited
Yep.
high school, and just the impact that the Cowboys have made all these years. So it's just really special. We love to show pride in that relationship long term. All right, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Let's just try to get into some stuff about you and just learn a little bit more about Travis Frederick,
Yeah.
as we have a couple more minutes. First of all, you talk about overcoming adversity and things like that. The number one question we ask everybody is who was your inspiration growing up? Who was that one person that you kind of looked up to as an icon in your life, and helped instill some of those values that you talked about earlier?
Yeah, for me, no doubt it's my father. We came from, modest means, and we got our way through. It was never an issue, but that happened because of the hard work that my dad put in, and that was something that we saw all growing up. Whether it was picking up extra jobs or working late hours, or all the hard work that he did to provide for us. That was something that we could see, and then we. Um, I say we, me and my brothers, started to help out. It was dad's going to go build a deck this weekend. Let's go help. Or dad's going to go put in a fence this weekend. Let's go help him. And so we got to learn alongside of that what hard work really was, and what sacrifice means for the family. And then also, on the flip side of that, we got to learn a ton of skills that you just don't get to learn anymore. We got to learn how to do plumbing. We got to learn how to do electrical, how to hang drywall, how to, build things. And that's really an awesome thing. So I'm really thankful to him for providing that to me in my childhood.
All right, now looking back on your career, and we're going to get some questions in from the kids here at St. Vincent's-Ville, the Baltimore Ravens Courage House, and they submit a bunch of them, and we try to ask everybody, and some of them are tough. So we're gonna look back at your career a little bit. First things first, you going into the season, you're looking at the schedule, and obviously being an interior offensive lineman, you're probably looking defensive line somewhere. But who's that one guy that you went up against and said, "Hey, I'm excited. This is the game that I got to perform my best." Who's the one guy that stood out to you that you're like, "Oh man, this guy's coming. I better be ready."
Yeah, for me, it was Damon Harrison. Snacks is what he went by. He played for the Giants for years, and Snacks may not have been the highest awarded or most accoladed defensive tackle in the league, but he and our skill sets just happened to match up in a way that it was a battle every single time that we played. And I'm not. There were sometimes I won, and there were sometimes he won, and I don't think that either of us could say that we got the best of each other. It was truly a battle. So I always knew that I needed to be ready to play Snacks.
I got one for you. Maybe an offensive lineman. You might appreciate this one. Favorite flavor of ice cream?
That's tough. I was really fortunate to get to live in Texas for a while and get to experience Bluebell. And Bluebell ice cream is out of this world and a whole different thing. But I think the Bluebell cookies and cream might be my favorite. It's they claim it's the original. I believe it based on how good it is.
There you go. All right, one more for you. And looking at some of those offensive linemen that you played with, first rounders, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, former at Block winner as well, and just looking at that camaraderie you guys had. So obviously there might have been a little bit of competitiveness as well. So I want to know, first off, first, who was the strongest out of the three of you, on that offensive line, that stout offensive line?
Yeah, I think we can all agree that Tyron was the strongest of that group. He was really just a freak. He continually could just even as he got older and it gets harder to get gains, he just continued to do it. It was really impressive to watch.
All right, well, now, who was the fastest of the three of you? Now, this is a question for offensive linemen right here.
Ooh. Yeah, I think it probably was Zach. I think he wins by a hair over Tyron. I was by far the slowest, but I'll give him
At least at least you understand your limitations. I appreciate that.
that.
And then the last thing for you, and as we wrap up, I'm going to throw a little bit of a plug in there for you because I want to learn all about this. This sounds so interesting. Obviously retired now, looking towards possibly being a Hall of Famer. We're just hold our fingers crossed for you, and
Thank
hopefully
you.
it happens down the road. We're definitely rooting for you. But you got a little bit of a side project going on right now in Demiplane. Um,
Yeah.
tabletop role-playing gaming. How do you get into that? How did this come about, and why was this the thing that you wanted to start as you're looking into the second act of your adult life?
That's a great question. To be frank, I've been playing tabletop games for a long time. Tabletop role playing games, probably since middle school, and I just really enjoy getting to put myself in the position of someone else and being in a different position and having to think through those situations. And I think tabletop role playing games are really good for young kids because it innately teaches empathy. It teaches you that you have to be able to understand situations from different viewpoints and put yourself in people's shoes. And so I think it's a great learning tool. So I've been playing for a long time. And on the other side of that, I double majored in computer engineering and computer science when I was in college. And going to the NFL, I always knew that I wanted to get back into tech somehow when I was done. And this opportunity came along. My co-founder and myself started talking about some of the pitfalls in the market and started to do some market research into it. And we found this niche that we couldn't find anyone else taking advantage of, and no one else providing value in that area. And we said, all right, well, maybe we'll take that, take a shot at it. And so we started it. We're actually just over 5 years old now, and I started it was the last year of my playing career. I remember during the training camp, we'd have a large break in the middle of the day. We have meetings in the morning, break, and then practice and more meetings. And during that break, most people take a nap or go see the trainers or whatever it is. And I was on my computer just hacking away, trying to get the first things going up and running. And so it's been a great challenge. It's been a lot of fun. I've learned a ton about technology, about business, about entrepreneurship, investments, all sorts of things. And so it's been a great challenge. And I love doing it because it provides a different place for my brain to go.
There you go. And Demiplane, where can we find it and everything that we need to
Yeah,
know?
check it out at demiplane.com. We're on the socials at Demiplane RPG, and it's really interesting. I encourage you to just take a look.
There it is, Travis Frederick. Obviously looking into the second act of his professional career, and kind of going, I know, a little bit different than most people do. So I certainly appreciate it. Travis, thank you for taking some time today, and certainly looking forward to see what happens next with you. And especially hopefully, eventually getting one of those really nice gold jackets that you can, maybe hang up next to that Ed Blackwater somewhere. So Travis, once again, thank you. We appreciate it and look forward to talking to you soon.
Brett, thanks for having me.